Hello besties, this week we're doing a vinyl wrap Milky Way. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, but before then let me welcome you to our Misfit Makers Besties YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on all our social medias under Misfit Makers and click that subscribe button so you'll be notified of any new content. Also check out our website and our Patreon. We're going to be using a 24-ounce plump from Tipsy Magnolia. I've already popped the booty there in this beautiful Galaxy vinyl called Purple Haze Galaxy by Mr. Nola's glitter. And look how beautiful it is. Like the vinyl alone is perfect. You don't have to add anything to it. But of course, we're extra around here and we're going to add something more. So I'm going to start off by trimming off the white excess trim there on our vinyl, and then we're going to get to wrapping our tumbler like I always wrap them. So if you already know how to wrap a tumbler, fast forward. So as you see here, I use my architectural ruler to make a straight line on my tumbler, and then I'm going to make some lines here just to kind of rough cut where my excess vinyl I'm going to cut off. I just need enough to wrap my tumbler. I don't need all that excess to get in the way. So I trimmed off the excess, and now I'm going to peel a tiny bit of one side of my vinyl. This will make it way easier to wrap my tumbler. I'm going to line up my vinyl to that line that we made with the pencil, and then slowly wrap my tumbler with the vinyl using my little felt squeegee. This little tool is a miracle saver when it comes to applying vinyl. Next, we're going to trim off that excess. See that little line there where you can see where it overlaps? I'm going to use my architectural ruler once again with my X-Acto blade, and I am going to trim off that excess there. It takes a little practice to get this right, but I promise you, once you do it this way, you won't want to do it any other way. So here I am just removing the little excess. Next, we're going to trim up the top and the bottom using my X-Acto blade. You guys already know how I like to trim my tops up to the top, and then the bottoms I'm just going to trim off the excess, and then I'm going to use my edge trimmer to give it a nice clean bottom. You'll see really quick here. I'm just tightening up my blade, and I'm going to trim the bottom using the edge trimmer and then removing the excess. You can do this with an X-Acto blade as well, or you can just trim it by hand on the bottom, whatever floats your boat. So after you got the bottom nice and clean, we're gonna do the booty. If you want a all full out tutorial on booties, go check out our YouTube channel. It has at least 2 tutorials on how to do the booties. So here I'm going to fast forward on this process. I'm actually using UV resin and some glitter from the glitter guy, I believe Disco Dusk and Shooting Stars, and just kind of to go with our galaxy theme. I decided to do the silver middle and then the black on the outside. But I made a mistake and didn't cure my inside first before I went with my outside. And some of it seeped through to my silver there. And so it kind of contaminated it, and I started to freak out. And then I said, we don't freak out around here. So I tried to clean it off, and then I decided to give up on it because it was just not what I was going for. So I said, put the black in everything, mix it all up. So I added some more of the black to the inside space of it and just filled it up. And then I added so much that I mixed it up and it was all black. So at the end of the day, it turned out great. It looks like a galaxy. It's more black than it is silver, but I think it looks good. So you want to cure that. You can either use UV resin or epoxy. Like I said, I used UV. So now for the fun Milky Way part after your UV booty has cured. I pulled out some mica here from CCDIY, some foils, I got my stars, and then some chunky glitter. But before then, we're going to give it one good coat of epoxy. I'm using Fast Set, but if this is your first time, I would use just regular artist resin if you don't want to be pressured to go super fast. So after you have one coat of epoxy, nice and wet, you're working on a wet epoxy surface. You want to mix some of your leftover epoxy with that mica. And here I am going to caution you, less is more when it comes to white epoxy, white alcohol inks, white anything. I put way too much, way too much. It got away from me. So I cautious, you could always add more, but start off with a little bit. I added too much and thankfully it turned out, but I wish I wouldn't have added that much. So start with a couple of little streaks going diagonal and then apply the heat. See how it kind of went a little bit too much? So I decided to use a little popsicle stick kind of to manipulate it into creating like more texture, more dimension. And also try to remove some of that extra white because I didn't want to cover up my whole vinyl. So here I am, finally see what I like. I'm sprinkling on some stars, some glitter, some foils. After this completely cures, then you want to add an final coat of epoxy. I use Fast Set by CCDIY, but you can use whatever you want. Here I am just adding extra things, but like I said, once you see what you like, then just let it go. After it cures, you have one final coat, and this is your result. Look how pretty it is. I wish I would have added less white, but still, we made it work. We worked with what we had. I hope this encouraged you to try something new. And a regular Milky Way is fun, but a Milky Way over vinyl is elite. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.